Jada's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the glowing screen of Donovan's phone. The harsh text message burned into her memory. "It's time, Donovan. You and Jada are going to pay for what you did. Everything you've built will crumble. I'll make sure of it." The name, Kendra, reverberated in her mind. Tonight, as thunder rumbled outside their modest home, the ghosts of a shared past that they desperately tried to bury were clawing their way back. In the tense silence that followed, Donovan's gentle inquiry, "Jada, you okay?" did little to calm the storm raging inside her. With trembling fingers, she forced a smile and dismissed it as mere fatigue. But deep down, the truth was far more sinister. Donovan's face, usually a bastion of reassurance, betrayed a hint of dread when he caught sight of her stiff posture. Unable to contain herself any longer, Jada demanded, "Who's Kendra?" For a moment, Donovan's eyes darted away. His voice, when it came, was laden with remorse. "I never meant for you to find out this way." As the weight of his silence pressed down on them, the room seemed to close in, the past merging with the present in an inescapable moment of reckoning. A sudden, anonymous call shattered the fragile calm. A voice on the line promised that this was only the beginning. Before they could grasp its meaning, another message vibrated through Jada's phone. A chilling video played. A shadowed figure slowly turned toward the camera, revealing Kendra's cold, determined eyes and a smile that spoke of revenge. In that heartbeat, both Jada and Donovan understood. The nightmare had only just begun. Later that night, as the storm subsided into an uneasy calm, Jada and Donovan sat in their dimly lit living room, the echo of Kendra's threats still heavy in the air. Determined to understand how their carefully hidden past had resurfaced, they began sifting through old documents and faded photographs from the fateful night of the hit and run. Memories, long suppressed, began to surface, flashbacks of youthful recklessness, of a desperate decision made under panicked conditions. They recalled how, in their haste, they had left the scene without ensuring everyone was safe. Now the realization struck them with bitter clarity. Someone else had been there that night. Someone whose survival had been hidden by the chaos of that terrible incident. As they pored over police reports and old news clippings, an obscure name appeared, a name tied to a survivor whose fate had been shrouded in mystery. The more they uncovered, the more Jada's heart pounded with guilt and anxiety. Could it be that their past held secrets far deeper than they had ever imagined? And was this mysterious survivor connected to Kendra's relentless pursuit? A chill ran down Jada's spine as Donovan's voice broke the silence. "We never saw who survived." His words echoed in the dark room, leaving an unsettling void filled with unanswered questions. As thunder rumbled softly outside, they realized that the accident was not just a memory. It was a curse that had bound their lives to a dark network of secrets. Driven by mounting desperation, Jada and Donovan ventured to a local archive late one rainy afternoon. They met with an old friend who had been a witness to the events of that fateful night. In hushed tones over steaming cups of coffee, their friend revealed fragments of a long-forgotten truth. One survivor of the accident had been seen fleeing the scene. This survivor was no ordinary bystander. Rumor had it that he was once a promising football star, destined for greatness on the field, until a single tragic night shattered his dreams. Now, his identity was wrapped in secrecy, his fate obscured by time. The friend's eyes darkened as he recounted how whispers in the community hinted at a man whose life had been irrevocably altered, a man who might be connected to the relentless revenge of Kendra. As Jada listened, a gnawing sense of foreboding took root. Could he be behind this? She wondered aloud, her voice trembling with a mixture of hope and dread. Donovan's expression grew grave. "We need to find him," he said, the determination in his tone unmistakable. They left the archive with a single name scribbled on a faded page, a name that promised to unlock the next chapter of their tormented past. The weight of their discovery was heavy, and as they stepped into the drenching rain, both knew that this lead was just the tip of a much larger conspiracy. Under the flickering neon lights of a rundown diner, Jada and Donovan met a shadowy informant, the whistleblower. In a secluded booth, amid the murmur of late-night conversations, the informant laid out a startling revelation. Kendra was only one thread in a vast, intricate web. Through furtive whispers and secret documents, they learned that Kendra's thirst for revenge was orchestrated by someone far more dangerous, a man who had once been a celebrated football star. Now a prominent businessman with a ruined athletic career, he had turned his bitter fate into a vendetta, channeling his influence to control a network of disaffected souls who had suffered because of the accident. This man had been pulling the strings behind Kendra's every move, manipulating events from the shadows. The informant slid a sealed envelope across the table. Inside were financial records, memos, and photographs, evidence linking this mastermind to Kendra's network. Jada's hands trembled as she read through the documents. Donovan's eyes narrowed in disbelief. The revelation was as crushing as it was unexpected. "This is it," Donovan whispered. "The puppet master behind everything. He's been orchestrating this entire scheme." Before they could absorb the full extent of the betrayal, a shrill beep from Donovan's phone cut through the air. An anonymous message confirmed their worst fears. The mastermind was planning a public move that could destroy them all. The web was vast, and now they were entangled in it. Back at their modest safe house, a converted office space that doubled as the headquarters for Jada's nonprofit, Jada and Donovan gathered a small circle of trusted allies. The atmosphere was tense, filled with hushed urgency as they pored over the whistleblower's evidence. Each document and testimonial deepened the shock. The mastermind's network was vast, and its reach extended into influential circles. As their meeting progressed, voices overlapped with a mix of fear, anger, and determination. Old friends, each with personal scars from the accident, recounted how their lives had been tainted by the ripple effects of that night. The conversation turned heated as they debated whether to go public with the evidence or continue a covert investigation. Jada's eyes flashed with resolve as she insisted, "We have to take control of this narrative. We can't let him manipulate us any longer." Suddenly, a secure message arrived on Donovan's encrypted phone. It was from a whistleblower, a trusted insider who had seen too much. The message promised a meeting in a secluded location with explosive details linking the businessman directly to Kendra's operations. The stakes were now higher than ever, and the room fell into a heavy silence as they realized their next move might cost them everything. Late that night, Jada and Donovan drove to a desolate, abandoned warehouse at the edge of town. Under the glow of a solitary street lamp, they met the whistleblower, a nervous but determined figure whose eyes darted around in constant vigilance. In a secluded corner of the warehouse, the whistleblower laid out damning evidence, meticulously compiled financial records, secret memos, and personal testimonies that exposed the mastermind's true power. As they absorbed the revelations, the warehouse door suddenly slammed shut. Before they could react, a group of masked figures emerged from the shadows, their presence confirming that the network's agents were closing in. A tense, heart-pounding chase ensued through darkened corridors and abandoned rooms. Jada's pulse thundered in her ears as Donovan's hand gripped hers tightly, both of them fighting to escape the relentless ambush. With every step, the danger grew more immediate, and the realization struck hard. The network's reach was deeper than they had ever feared. Just as they found a narrow exit, a final, blood-curdling shout from behind forced them to dive for cover. They scrambled into the night, hearts racing, unsure if they had truly evaded capture. Gasping for breath in the cool darkness, they exchanged determined glances. They had escaped, but at what cost? The whistleblower's evidence was now in their hands, and so was the knowledge that they were marked. Safe in a temporary hideout, Jada and Donovan regrouped with their core team. The atmosphere was heavy with resolve and lingering fear as they watched a recorded video message sent by the mastermind. In the message, the enigmatic former football star, now a ruined legend turned influential businessman, addressed them directly. His voice was cold and authoritative as he declared that a public reckoning was imminent and that every secret would soon be laid bare for all to see. The video message revealed a glimpse of the mastermind's true power. Not only did he control Kendra's network, but he also had allies in high places. His promise of a devastating public move sent shockwaves through the hideout. The threat was real and immediate. Donovan's jaw tightened as he stared at the screen. "This isn't just about us anymore," he said grimly. "It's about everyone who's been hurt by that night." Jada nodded silently, her eyes reflecting both fear and steely determination. Their lives and the lives of countless others hung in the balance. As they planned their next move, a chill swept through the room when another encrypted message arrived. This time, it wasn't a threat, but a dire warning. The final reckoning is coming. Prepare for the storm. The room fell silent, the weight of impending doom palpable in every anxious breath. Under mounting pressure and with nowhere left to hide, Jada and Donovan resolved to take the fight public. In a packed corporate conference hall, amid a sea of influential figures and flashing cameras, they held a dramatic press conference. With trembling hands and unwavering resolve, Jada stepped up to the podium and revealed the carefully gathered evidence, documents, testimonies, and images that exposed the network behind Kendra's reign of terror. The room fell into stunned silence as the details unfolded. Media outlets erupted into a frenzy, and soon, the story dominated every headline. Amid the chaos, legal authorities began launching an investigation, and whispers of corruption and hidden agendas filled the air. Yet, just as it seemed that their truth was finally breaking through, a giant screen behind them flickered to life with one final cryptic message: "This is only the beginning." The message, delivered in bold, ominous text, left the audience and Jada's team reeling. Even as their revelation began to dismantle the mastermind's carefully built facade, the implication of a far larger conspiracy loomed ominously. In the days following the press conference, the repercussions rippled through every facet of Jada and Donovan's lives. Legal battles ensued. Their personal reputations were under siege, and media scrutiny was relentless. The couple found themselves isolated by the weight of public opinion, their nonprofit organization shaken by scandal. Haunted by the past and burdened by the secrets that had been exposed, both struggled with overwhelming guilt and regret. In quiet moments, as they sat side by side in their sparse living room, the enormity of their actions pressed down upon them. Yet, amid the devastation, a fragile hope began to stir. They realized that to move forward, they must accept responsibility and begin the arduous process of healing. One morning, a sealed court summons arrived, a stark reminder that the network's influence reached even the corridors of justice. Jada's heart pounded as she read the document. This was their final crossroads. Would they fight the mounting legal battles, or would they find solace in acknowledging their mistakes and rebuilding from the ruins? In a moment of raw vulnerability, Donovan took her hand. "We have to face this, Jada. Even if it means sacrificing everything we've built, we have to own our past." His voice was gentle but resolute, a promise that they would face the consequences together. As the camera of fate zoomed in on their intertwined hands, a final, ominous message arrived on Jada's phone. "You can't escape what you've done." The message sent a shiver down her spine, leaving them both to wonder if redemption was within reach, or if the scars of the past would forever haunt them. As time passed, the turbulent storm began to subside. Legal battles slowly reached resolution, and the mastermind's network was dismantled, with key figures held accountable for their actions. Though the scars of betrayal and guilt remained, Jada and Donovan, along with their community, embarked on the long, challenging journey of healing. In a renovated community center, a symbol of rebirth and resilience, survivors and those once affected by the tragic accident gathered to share their stories and begin the process of rebuilding their lives. Jada, now a leader in advocating for justice and support, worked tirelessly to restore trust and empower others. Donovan, too, embraced his role as a voice for change, drawing strength from the knowledge that their suffering could lead to a brighter future. One crisp morning at sunrise, as golden light spilled over the city skyline, Jada and Donovan stood together on the center steps. Their eyes, filled with both lingering sorrow and newfound hope, met as they surveyed the progress they had made. Though the past could never be fully erased, they had taken control of their destiny, transforming pain into purpose. In that quiet, powerful moment, they acknowledged that healing was not a destination but a journey, one they would travel together. The final message from Kendra had long since faded into silence, replaced by the steady beat of a hopeful future. As they stepped forward into the uncertain light of a new day, Their hearts whispered a promise that despite the darkness, redemption and renewal were possible.